everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing my August TBR video. Thankfully, finally, I can do a TBR. I did not do one in July and I did not do one in June, and the one that I did in May, I failed epically. But those months were crazy busy for me. You've heard me, I went to BookCon, then I went back home, I did a lot of traveling. I just was so stressed and so focused on getting ready for the trips and, you know, having the content out that it just, my reading just went down, but also kind of crumbled because I was just reading whatever, and I got really behind on a lot of arcs that I have. So that's why we have this TBR video. So some of my blogger friends are doing arc August, which means that in August you read as many arcs as you have or as if you want to. That gives you an opportunity to catch up with all reviews that have to be done, and I thought I would participate in that. So I selected some books that I have here that were either sent me for review or I got them as arcs, and I want to read them in August. Obviously, as always, a disclaimer, this TBR can change throughout the month. I'm a very moody reader. I can just go off and read some manga instead of reading books, or just read some, you know, gay romances or whatever. It happens to me a lot, but I'm very excited about all of these books, and since they're arcs and were sent for review, I actually have to read them, you know? So without further ado, let's just get on with it. I set the book in the order of my excitement, so I'm going from the most excited to less excited but still excited. And the first book that I have here is the one that I was dying to get my hands on, and I stood in the line for a very long time at BookCon, and that is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. If you watch my BookCon videos and my BookCon haul, you know that I stood in the line for this book, and I was so lucky that Victoria was such a trooper, not only because she signed over 700 copies of this arc, but also she signed other books that people brought her, and I got some of my books signed there as well, not personalized but just signed. So this is a middle grade essentially fantasy or a mystery novel, and it's about a girl who can see ghosts, and I'm really digging it. I cannot wait to read it. It's coming out on August 28th, and as a matter of fact, even before I went to BookCon, I pre-ordered this book at the Indigo website, so I will be getting my final copy. But I'm super excited to read this. It is an uncorrected proof, which I'm always struggle with, because I have this brain that really focuses on mistakes and misspelled things. Hopefully it will not ruin my enjoyment of the book, but I'm pretty sure I will be in love with it. And also, cover! I just cannot wait to read it. Next, I have another fantasy novel that I'm super excited about, and this is Seafire by Natalie C. Parker. So I've had this book on my wish list for a while, and I've been getting so jealous when I would see some other bloggers unbox this and be like, oh, I got sent this by Penguin, and I was just so envious. I really wanted to get this book. I even put it on hold at the library, even though it's not coming out till like mid-August or something, but I really wanted to get my own copy. And then accidentally, while talking to my contact at Penguin Random House, I mentioned that I wanted to read more YA, and she sent my contact details to another person who happened to have copies of Seafire. So I'm really grateful to Penguin Random House for sending me this copy. I'm just super excited to read it because this is a new YA fantasy book, and it has pirates, female pirates. Do I need to say anything else? This is why I wanted to read it so badly. It's all about sisterhood and, you know, badass females, and I cannot wait to read this book. At the back it says, on the back of the sea, who do we trust? Our sisters. When our ship falters, who do we trust? Our sisters. In a storm of bullets, who do we trust? Our sisters. We fight together or not at all. It's giving me chills. Jesus, I hope this book would not disappoint. I cannot wait to read it and review it. Next, I have another arc that I got at BookCon, and that is The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kirsten White. So I had an opportunity to meet Kirsten during her autograph session at BookCon this year, and they were providing free copies of this arc, and this is the book which is coming out in September of this year. This is somewhat a retelling on Frankenstein. I had an opportunity to ask Kirsten why she picked this particular story, and she said that it was actually the idea of her publisher to do kind of like a retelling. I cannot really tell you much more about this book, but I did get it signed by Kirsten, which was very nice, and I cannot wait to read it. While talking to her, I actually mentioned that one of my favorite plays was Frankenstein by National Theatre, with alternating roles played by Johnny Lee Miller and also Benedict Cumberbatch. So I'm hoping that this book will live up to my expectations. This is a standalone retelling YA. Yeah, and it's a fairly small book, so hopefully I will get to it this month. I have another copy, an arc, and this is rather uncorrected proof. This is Hey Kiddo by Jared J. Krosochka, and this is a graphic novel. So I picked it up from the Scholastic booth at BookCon this year. It was just lying there, so I picked it up. And this is supposed to be a story about a boy, I think it's middle grade, and it says, How I Lost My Mother, Found My Father, and Dealt with Family Addiction. I'm really looking forward to reading this graphic novel. I looked up information on Goodreads and I saw some positive reviews, which is a good thing. Plus it's a graphic novel, and it's always exciting because you kind of read something, but at the same time you look at the pictures, which is very nice. And this book is coming out in October of this year. So besides those 4 books, which are going to be my main priority, I also have 3 books more, but I'm going to tackle them once I'm done with those 4 because I really want to read those 4. More so, I have a lot of ebooks that were due in May and June, and I really need to catch up with my reviews on NetGalley. That's why those stories and those novels are going to be a priority. But once I'm done with all of that, or at least majority, I'm going to read these 3. And the first book out of this is the one which I actually started reading in March, and I was really enjoying it. And this is The Beauty That Remains by Ashley Wood Fulke. I am 1/3 into the book. I still have it on my currently reading shelf on Goodreads, and this is a YA contemporary with very diverse storyline and diverse characters and LGBT representation as well of people of color and all of that. It's a very interesting book told from 3 different points of view of teenagers who are going through different types of loss and grief. I'm really enjoying this book. Like, I read the first 50 or so pages just in one go, really enjoying the writing style and the story. However, I was reading that in March, and the book came out on March 6th, I believe. And March and April, those months were kind of emotionally hard for me. So I started reading this book in March, and it came out on March 6th. But unfortunately, March and April were kind of emotionally hard for me. So reading this book during that time was a bit difficult, and then I just got very busy. But I really want to finish it. It's a very good book. And I got the final copy from Penguin Random House. This is not ARC. This is a finished copy, for which I'm very grateful. And I really want to finish it. Hopefully I will be able to do that in August. Next, I have a library copy, but I'm going to explain why. So this is the finished copy that I got obviously from the library of The Unbinding of Mary Read by Miriam McNamara. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And as a matter of fact, I got an ARC of this book, and it came out in June from NetGalley, and one of my blogger friends was actually very helpful with me obtaining that e-ARC copy. However, I did not read it at the time, and since I have an option of reading the finished product, I would rather read the final copy as opposed to reading an e-ARC. But since it's a recent release and it's one of the books that was provided to me for review, I'm going to do that. And this is a historical fiction kind of based on a true story about a girl who disguises herself as a boy to be on a pirate ship. So once again, it's about pirates, it's about girls, and it's a young adult coming of age story, I believe. I'm really looking forward to reading it because, I mean, pirates, there is no, like, no story can be bad if it has pirates in it, in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to reading it, especially it's a very thin book. Like, I'm really surprised how small it is. Let's see how many pages. It's basically 267 pages together with the author's intro and acknowledgements. It's a very short book. Hopefully I'll get to it this month. And the last but definitely not least is the book which has been sitting on my shelves for quite a while, and this is The Edge of Everything by Jeff Gillis. So this is an advanced reader's copy that I got in 2016 at BookCon, and that was just available on a table. I did not meet the author or the publisher or anything like that. This book came out, and I think, yeah, it came out in January of 2017, and it had some good reviews, but I never got around to reading it. I decided just to go with this ARC copy since it's sitting on my shelf, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it or not, so I'm not gonna read the final copy. I'll just read a couple of pages from it, and if I like it, I'll continue. So if I remember correctly, it is a thriller, like a YA thriller, and from what I'm reading at the back now, it really reminds me of Wolves of Winter that I read in January of this year, but I might be wrong. So you probably all know what the story is about, but there is a story about a girl, a bounty hunter, and some stuff that is happening. So I don't know really much more than that, but I'm looking forward to try it. I don't know. If you read this book, please let me know down below. But this is going to be the last book that I pick up in August, so I really want to give it a try. If I do not like it, I'm just going to unhaul it. Okay, that's it. These are all of the books that I selected for my ARC August challenge. I will provide all the links down below to Goodreads pages of those books. Hopefully I'll get through all of them, and my ultimate goal is obviously to reduce the TBR of ARCs that I got from NetGalley, because that just got out of control very quickly. I was doing a lot of e-ARC reading in January, February, and March, so I kept requesting more and more books, but then I stopped reading them and it just snowballed, and now I just have a pile of those as well in my Kindle. So yeah, please let me know down below if you're going to read any of the books that I mentioned and if you're excited about the upcoming releases. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you very soon. Bye! My face looks so whitewashed because of the light, but I like natural light, so I'm gonna keep it. If you let's just wait. That's a fire truck. Believe me, I live in downtown Toronto. I can tell all of those emergency services just by the sound of their sirens. Ages ago. And of course there is another car. This one sounds like paramedics or police. More like police, probably. I'm getting a headache.